Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the October committee meeting of the New York City Transit Authority. Doreen, who is recovering nicely from her surgery, sends you her greetings, and we hope that and expect that her recovery will continue and that she will be here with us. Meeting without our chairman, H. Dale Hemmerdinger. His term expired with the installation of our new CEO. Dale's term here was relatively brief, even by MTA standards, but he certainly gave it his all. And it's this type of volunteerism, and he was a volunteer like the rest of us on this side of the table. And it's that type of public service and selflessness that makes the MTA what it is. So thank you very much, Dale. This, I believe, is unfortunately the last meeting for Connie, which is short for Cosima Crawford, who is leaving to go on to bigger and better things after a wonderful career at the MTA. And we're going to miss you, and good luck to you in the future. Are there public speakers?
No public speakers today.
I was hoping the public speakers would outnumber the board members present, but we didn't quite get there. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Will one of you move and the other second the minutes? By the way, the minutes, for those of you who really want to know, are kept by Martin Schnabel, who's right back there where it says staff. So if any of you really, like you, want to have something in there that you think is important, you should go see him. Or in my case, if you want something I've said out of there, you can go see him also.
I didn't know the minutes were so pliable.
He's the commander-in-chief of the minute takers. Are there any changes in the work plan?
No changes.
Are there ever changes to the work plan?
On occasion.
Okay. It's my pleasure to recognize the president of the New York City Transit Authority, the Manhattan and Bronx Surface Transit Operating Authority, and the Staten Island Rapid Transit Operating Authority. His name, as I recall, is Howard H. Roberts, Jr. Mr. President.
That makes my title sound like Joe Smith's, who so we were talking up. So we were talking earlier. It's difficult to get it on one business card, but the operations report, Mr. Chair, on the on-time performance, and this is something that Jeff Kay has been looking forward to seeing. We now actually have a year's worth of data on absolute on-time performance. And therefore, we're returning to providing year-over-year comparisons in the agenda book. We don't really have a year's data on controllable because from August of last year until January, we were still using the old system and adjusting it, but it still basically overstated the results in that it did not capture all of the delays. As of January 2010, however, both data streams, in fact, will be accurate. For the month of August, absolute on-time performance was 74.5% system-wide, which was down 5% from 78.4% in 2008. Controllable on-time performance was 90.1% system-wide, down 1% from 91% in 2008. There were 40,569 weekday delays in August. The top three causes, supplement schedules, right-of-way, and track gangs, combined to account for 80% of the total. Turning to weekend on-time performance, results in August were as follows. Absolute on-time performance was 53.5% system-wide, down 11.3% from 60.3% in July. More than 93% of the weekend delays were caused by supplemental schedules in effect on the weekends due to work being done on the tracks and various services being discontinued. I actually have a couple of horror stories here with respect to the different lines that had particularly low absolute on-time performance. You remember, if we even skip a single station on a line, let alone skip 5 or 6 or close down local or express tracks, that counts as a absolute delay. For subway weight assessment, results for August continue the upward trend of recent months. System-wide weight assessment was 89.4% in August, up 3.1% from last year. Results for the A division increased by 4.9%, while the B division was up by 2.2%. On a 12-month rolling average, weight assessment was 88.5% system-wide, an improvement of 2.5% from a year ago. The A and B divisions were both up from last year by 4.1% and 1.7% respectively. Mean distance between failure results improved in August, but only slightly. For the month, mean distance between failure was 118,186 miles, up 0.2% from 117,993 a year ago. The 12-month average, however, continued to go up, given that slight improvement over last year. And as of the end of August, it was at 139,889 miles, up 0.8% from last year. September mean distance between failure, which we just received last week, basically went back to the earlier pattern we've enjoyed for the last 5 months or so. It was just under 160,000 miles, an increase of more than 25% compared to last year's 127,214. So we still are seeing finally strong upward movement in fleet mean distance between failure. Part of the reason that August was probably as low as it was is that we had 5 days over 90 degrees in August of this year versus 1 day in August of last year, and subway cars tend to like February to a much greater extent than they like August in terms of running without breaking down. On the bus side, weekday pull-out performance was 99.6% or better for the AM/PM peaks for both the month of August and the 12-month average. Similarly, completed trips averaged over 98.85% and 98.76% for the last 12 months. Bus mean distance between failure was 3,476 miles in August, a decline of 11.8% from 3,940 last year. As with the subways, hot weather was a major factor in these results. The 12-month average now stands at 3,860 miles, down 2.5% from a year ago. Turning to paratransit, completed trips were up by 14.3% in August. This is only the second month in the last 2 years with a year-over-year increase below 15%. Over the last 12 months, completed trips are up 20.1% compared to the prior 12-month period. Customer no-shows were 3.35% of scheduled trips, down by 12.8% from a year ago. In fact, the absolute number of customer no-shows was down 4.2% from a year ago. Crime statistics continue to be outstanding. There were 157 major felonies in September, down by 25 or 13.7% from September 2008. Year-to-date, major felonies are down 12.1%. Safety indicators are mixed this month. On the subway side, the customer accident rate decreased by 1.9% in July, although the 12-month average is up 5.4%. Subway fires were down by 25.9% during August, despite the hot weather, with all fires categorized as being lower average in severity. Over the last 12 months, fires are down by 16.2%. For buses, the customer accident rate in July was up 15.4% from 2008. The primary cause was an increase in slip, trip, fall accidents during the month. The bus collision rate was up by 16.8% during July, but that is really a reflection of the fact July 2008 was an extremely low month. For the last 12 months, bus collisions are down 5.7%. Finally, we continue to struggle with an upsurge in employee lost time accident rate. The rate was up 15% in August, and the 12-month average shows an increase of 18.1% from a year ago. The data indicate that spike has affected both subways, buses about equally. Also, the increase has not been confined to any individual category of accident, although 3 categories have been above average. These are assaults, overexertion, slips, trips, and falls. Cheryl Kennedy has been reviewing the safety and accident prevention plans with subways and buses, and we are making a major effort to bring those accidents back under control. On the finance side, preliminary August fare box revenue was $273.6 million, which was $5.3 million, or 2% above the forecast. Year-to-date, fare box revenue is 0.8% above the forecast. Non-reimbursable expenses before depreciation and OPEB were under the forecast by $8 million in August and by $36 million year-to-date. In August, labor results were unfavorable by less than 1%, but were more than offset by underruns and non-labor expenses. Ridership, August 2009 ridership totaled 181 million, 1% above the forecast, due to higher than forecasted subway ridership, which resulted at least in part from lower job losses than expected. Average weekday ridership in August was 6.8 million, down 4.7% from 2008, due to a combination of the weaker economy and the June fare increase. Average weekend ridership was also down from 2008 by 5.2%. Preliminary September 2009 financial results. We've had an early look at those results. On the revenue side, results were similar to August, with total fare box revenue exceeding the forecast by $5 million, or 1.8%. Preliminary operating expenses in September were also favorable, underrunning by $7.7 million, or 1.7%. There were underruns for both labor and non-labor expenses. On the capital program, through August, NYC Transit committed $1.6 billion to awards and design starts. The commitment level represents 89% of the year-to-date plan. More than half the shortfall is due to the rescheduling of the Flushing Line CBTC contract to later this year, and the remainder has been caused by delays to a small number of station projects, some of which were waiting for CPRB approval of our most recent capital program amendment. Mr. Chair, that completes the operating report.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Do we have any questions? Mr. Albert.
Howard, is the grim numbers on the number 1, does that have anything to do with the ceiling collapse in August, or is that something totally aside from that?
You're talking about the on-time performance numbers.
Yep.
I would say most of that is the ceiling collapse.
Okay, and the G's poor on-time performance, is that due to the fact that it didn't go through to Continental and you count that as not going the entire route?
That's correct.
Okay, and one other question. When did the line general manager initiatives that we discussed last month kick in?
My memory doesn't take me back to the initiative that we discussed last month. You're talking about
lack
the
of
one
midday express service on the 7, the lack of some trains going to 242nd on the 1, those things.
Yeah.
I believe those have been, those have had already been implemented, at least on an ad hoc basis in some cases. I believe that they were presented in terms of the December schedules that were going to take effect.
That's the answer. Thank you.
We continue with the remarkable statistics provided by Assistant Chief Hall, which show crime off again 12 to 14% from this time last year. it is now beyond question, as far as I'm concerned, that this is due to good luck and certainly not to the economy, but it's due solely to effective deployment and intelligent policing. And our hats are off to you again, Jim, and while you have arrived at perfection, as I have said many times, we expect you to continue to improve. But well done.
We offered him a job running paratransit, but he turned us down.
Anyone else have any questions? Are there any procurements for us this month?
Just 20 and only totaling 34.4 million in expenditures.
Do we throw those back, or do we have to send them on to the full board?
We would greatly prefer if they were sent on to the full board.
Carry on.
I ask for your approval of all 20 actions in the agenda.
They are all in the book, and we are a hot bench. We are also a quorum now. Anybody have any questions on any of the procurements? Do I hear a motion to approve them? Anyone second? Second. All those in favor? Any opposed? The procurements are adopted and sent to the full board for approval.
Can I ask a quick question? I'm sorry. I still want to move it. The Parsons Transportation, the PACIS, the Phase 2, what's that? The 500,000?
This is to bring in estimators who are specialists in software and technology projects.
Right.
Employees that's hard for us to get in-house, and we needed extra help with some of the change orders and to meet some of the federal review requirements. So it's an on-call. It's some amount that we can draw against to use some of their expertise.
On the issue of the removal of the ballast on the Culver Viaduct project, was that something that we didn't know in the beginning?
No, we didn't. It's not something we usually find, but since this ballast has been in place for about 80 years, and on the express tracks we've been running a lot of work trains, so it just was an unusual situation to have that contamination there.
Thanks.
The procurements were passed unanimously and sent on to the full board for approval. Does anybody, in view of Connie's answers, want to reconsider that vote? If not, we will move on to tariff changes.
This month, we are seeking committee approval of a tariff change to allow three-leg transfers to B61 and B62 customers using value-based MetroCards.
You know, I read that 3 times. What does 3 legs mean?
It's an interesting it's an interesting term of art. It basically means that when we split the B61, we created a situation in which customers who use the bifurcated line might have to pay for a extra transfer to do that.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
Let's change the record so it reflects January 2010, not January 2009.
What page is that?
That is page... Yes, well, that mistake's on 113.
So on page 113, where the effective date of the resolution is...
Should say effective January 2010.
Okay, all right, so the minutes will kindly note that change. All those in favor of the tariff change? Any opposed? It is approved. Service changes?
Section 6 of the agenda notifies the committee of a planned service change which will reroute X28 northbound service in the Coney Island section of Brooklyn from West 17th Street to West 20th Street between Surf and Neptune Avenues. This proposed reroute is needed to respond to NYC DOT's plan to convert West 17th Street, currently a two-way street, to a southbound only one-way street between Neptune and Surf Avenue. The service change will take effect when DOT makes its change.
It's a pretty wide street and the extension of Cropsey Avenue, that they would make that one lane is a real surprise.
Our only choice is to attempt to run a contraflow bus lane, and I don't think that would work.
Well, thank you for being on top of this.
Or you could run one-way bus lanes.
A loop. We don't vote on service changes, do we? Or do we?
With service changes that reach certain significant levels, you do vote on them. All of the service changes that are below that level, though, are simply provided as information.
All right, thank you. We now have any special reports?
The last two sections of this month's agenda present two reports. The first is the monthly AFC program status report, and the second is our quarterly update on bus technology programs.
Anyone have any questions of President Roberts on either of these special reports? Departing from 44 years of MTA and New York City Transit Authority history and practice, does anyone on the staff want to cross-examine the President? This is going to be the only chance you'll ever get. No one?
They do.
No one even wants to ask him anything?
They do every day.
Oh, they do. Okay. We'll now turn to the bus company meeting, and let's see here. I take it, does anybody have any comments or corrections to the minutes? Is there somebody who wishes to? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, the minutes are approved. It is now my pleasure to recognize the Senior Vice President of the New York City Transit Authority, the President of MTA Bus Company, and the President of Long Island Bus Company. No wonder our budget for business cards is so over the top. How do you do that?
That's why my parents named me Joe Smith, so I could fit the rest of the title on the card. There are no changes to the work plan this month. Overall service performance was somewhat mixed in August. AM weekly pullouts were above 99% for both August and the previous 12 months. PM pullouts were above 99% for the previous 12 months, but fell slightly below 99% for August. Same thing with completed trips. They were 99% for the previous 12 months, but fell slightly in August, and that was due to a slight increase in road calls. The MDBF was 2012 in August. I'm happy to report that it's up nicely in both September and October. Part of the reason is we had an issue with the PCS, which is the propulsion control system on the new hybrids. A fleet defect has popped up on these model buses and MTA bus, mainly due to the duty cycle, and we are working with the manufacturers to come up with a fix to go in there and change all of them. But we expect the MDBF to continue and increase over the next several months. Total ridership for August was down 4.6% from August 2008, and the 12-month average was still up 2.2%. Average weekday ridership declined 4.6% for the month. However, 12-month period showed an increase of 1.7%. Average weekend ridership showed a decline for the month of August also for 4.4%, but an increase for the 12-month period of 3.0%. Safety performance for the previous 12 months was also mixed. Bus collision rates improved by 11.4% from the same period last year. The bus collision injury rate also improved by 8.6%. However, the customer accident rate was up 17.6%, and the customer accident injury rate was up 13.5%. We have done a program across all MTA bus and the Department of Buses where we've finished, it's all rolled out, where we changed the acceleration profile on the hybrid buses. They're going to accelerate more like a regular bus does, smoother, so we're going to have less falls, we believe, or customer injuries because of that. Employee lost time accident rate also rose by 41%. We've had a big spike in employee accidents. we're working with System Safety, with Cheryl's group, and trying to come up with different reasons why and address the problem. We've also put in location safety officers, the same way we have in the Department of Buses, to focus in on what's causing this increase. Some highlights from our August financial statement. August farebox revenue was $14 million. It was higher than the mid-year forecast by $500,000 or 4%. Year-to-date, the farebox revenue was better than forecast by $1.2 million or 1.1%. Total non-reimbursable expenses before non-cash adjustments were $4.2 million worse than forecast for the year-to-date through August. The primary reason to this overrun is recently revised actuarial evaluations of liability claims, which is $13.8 million higher than forecast. These accrued expenses are being largely offset by labor savings through the implementation of, we had hiring lags going on for a while, and material savings, major material savings through the parts recycling effort. We have 2 non-competitive procurements for the committee's approval this month. The first one is approval for the purchase of various farebox parts from Cubic in the amount of $840,000. The second procurement is a miscellaneous contract of Vantage Technology to furnish and install software to automate the traffic checking data entry process in the amount of $43,000. This software is also used by New York City Transit Operations Planning Unit for traffic checking data. I seek the committee's approval for these 2 procurements.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Does anybody have any questions? Mr. Albert.
Is the Cubic procurement solely for the upcoming First and Second Avenue SBS, or is it going to be unilaterally used?
The Cubic procurement is solely for replacement parts.
Solely?
Yeah.
So it's nothing to do with the next SBS route?
We actually, in a prior month, have contracted with Cubic for the fareboxes, not fareboxes, the machines that will be deployed on First and Second Avenue. So that's behind us already. They're on order. I can't.
Yeah, I think Stanley could fill in, but I think that
We have a
purchase
large
was,
omnibus contract with Cubic that's on a task order based, and we finished negotiating additional street machines for the next BRT route, SBS route. But this procurement that Joe has is separate, just for their parts on their fleet for MTA bus.
How are those machines holding up on Fordham Road and Pelham Park?
Pretty good. We do have some transfer issues, not transfer, but receipt issues with printing now and then, but generally they're holding up pretty good.
the machines that we purchased for First and Second Avenue are improved versions. I think, among other things, they're weatherproofed. Yeah, in them. So.
Have we had a winter with these yet?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Jeff?
Joe, how much you keep bringing up, and I've heard you talk before, the parts replacement that you've done. How much have you think you've saved overall?
Overall, we're approaching $9 million in removed parts that we actually have put in the storerooms, and close to $6 million altogether for both agencies in actual usage. That's between fuel, Freon, and parts. So, I mean, it definitely has paid its way. It's been a great project.
The proposal is to approve the procurements of MTA Bus Company. Is there a second? Moved and seconded. All those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Okay, I have one information item. Is a service change that revives the northbound travel path of the Q53 in Jackson Heights. It will follow Roosevelt Avenue and 39th Street instead of Broadway and 61st Street to travel between 74th Street and 39th Avenue. The change will provide a more reliable, faster service, and it does not affect any bus stops. We're going to change this starting in the January pick, and the result will result in an annual savings of approximately $40,000.
Woodside is grateful to you.
You've you've done some bus runs on that street, and the traffic on Roosevelt doesn't impede the bus too
Yes.
badly?
Yes, there's been, we've,
Because it's pretty bad.
yeah, we have.
Yeah.
The second item is a quarterly bus technology report. It covers the various technology projects in the 3 bus groups, New York City Transit, MTA Bus, and Long Island Bus.
Any questions on the special reports?
Okay.
Anybody on the staff want to cross-examine the Senior Vice President, President, and President? Any further business to come before the meeting?
One more. I'm also happy to tell you that the shuttle service that we've started running for Metro North out of Yonkers Depot is running very well. The shuttle is scheduled to provide off-peak service for the Harriman stations and the 6 stations north and west from October 12th to November 20th. We basically have been running a shuttle service up to Port Jervis for Metro North, which they full MTA bus. Shuttle. Yes, when the train is down, because they have a tie replacement job going on, major tie replacement going on, and we're running shuttle service, which they fully reimburse us for.
It keeps the money in-house.
You forgot to add that.
It keeps the money within the community, the MTA community. But I do have to comment that for us to see MTA bus in Orange County is quite a surprise, and I think it's been quite a surprise for the bus drivers that, first of all, they're driving some 85 miles,
Right.
and secondly, we bring bikes and luggage and creatures on board with us.
Yes.
Pet animals, not the bears and the deer, but the others.
No horses.
Okay,
Well, thank you for adapting so well to these strange circumstances. Any further business to come before the meeting?
that's it.
A Warwick to Woodside bus is next.
If somebody makes a motion, we'll be done in record time. Second? All in favor? Thank you very much.
Thank you.